Welcome to the Bouquet of Stars book launch party, and you are seeing a screen full of all the co-authors, myself as the editor and bringer together of all this stuff. But we're here to celebrate and hear from the poets that have been part of this anthology. And this morning we discovered we're the #1 new release on Kindle. We're in the top 5 in poetry anthologies on Amazon, soft cover. We're so stoked, and thank you everybody who's already purchased the book. Thank you everybody who's already supported all the authors and the arts. And for those that don't have it, you can get it worldwide through retailers, online retailers, etc. So we're going to start with Shalane Harkin, who was the host poet and lead poet. Has published a number of books already, and as the founder of Poetry Chapel, I've been so incredibly blessed and stoked, not just to have you teach and impart to everybody, but to become friends during this time as well has been really precious and important to me. So, Shalane, thanks again. Over to you.
Thank you, David. It's so good to be here. And it's so good to just have a space to sing the praises of Poetry Chapel. Am I right?
Yay.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
you just never know how things are going to go, right? And so David invited me to take on this role, and I really hadn't done anything like this before. And for me, writing poetry had been a very private and somewhat just incredibly satisfying experience for me, but also very disconnected from community. I never had a poetry buddy. I really didn't know almost any poets. So it was a big shift, kind of imagining going into this poetic world that had been just so private, kind of impersonal with a bunch of you all. And I had all kinds of, I didn't tell you this, but I had all kinds of anxieties. I didn't know I didn't know, how things were going to go relationally between you all. I didn't know if any of y'all would just be, big weirdos and I wouldn't know how to navigate. I didn't know.
We didn't disappoint, did we?
That, David?
Or hope.
Yeah. And I also, I so wanted this to be valuable to each of you, and not having had the experience before, I was a little nervous about that as well. And personally, and just from the feedback I've gotten and just from what I've witnessed, it just seems like for all of us, certainly for me, it was just so far beyond what I could have imagined. And so many different parts of it, but I feel most primarily just the heart connections that have been formed. I care deeply about all of you, and I miss you, and I hope you're doing well, and I think of you often, and there's just an incredibly special bond that comes from meeting week after week to experience the bravery of opening our hearts and sharing our poetic voices, which are very personal. And I'm just so delighted and honored, and I was so impacted by the encouragement and the safety of this space and just what everyone brought to make it so damn beautiful. So you all really, really fed and nourished me poetically, and I feel like I'm a much better poet for my time with all of you. Yeah. I'm just so proud of us. Aren't we awesome?
Thanks, Shalane.
Like, maybe we need a Poetry Chapel round 2. I don't know. Although actually you all have just taken it and run with it, that is so exciting that you're still meeting and writing. And I'd love to hear updates from you all just about your poetic visions and whatnot. So, okay, I'm going to read a couple of my poems from this book. So the first 40 or so, I think, are mine. And then the next 40 are belong to these fine people. I'm just talking to our viewers now, you all. Okay. Thanks for your patience. Okay, this one is called Crushed into Wine. As a grape ripens until it is ready to be crushed into wine, so too does your pain ripen within you until it is ready to be crushed into love. It's when, in the blindness of our anguish, we forget the destiny of all hearts is love's great barrel, that suffering takes such hold. The missing ingredient for peace as you ripen toward love's obliteration of complete becoming is trust in the vintner's sacred timing. The brand of your love is a particular variety, and she cherishes all those nuanced notes you've gathered into yourself and called suffering that now make you so exceptionally fine and sweet. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I'm going to read one more, and then I'm going to pass the mic.
Yeah, you get to nominate.
Oh, I'll nominate. Okay. Okay, this one's fun to read. This one's called Awakening is Messy. Awakening is messy. You don't transcend into some paradisical, elitist inner garden. It doesn't perfect you. You first come into all the reasons you've so wanted to stay asleep, and there are many very good reasons. We awaken to all the reasons we've so wanted to dissociate from our bodies, those storehouses of pain and God. To enter through either of these doors is to have stripped from you the illusion of smallness. Sleeping was relatively painless in its numbed way. To awaken, really, is to begin to feel. As we feel through more pain, we feel more compassion. Awakening is bit by bit coming out of denial around all the reasons you've needed to wield that terrible tool of othering. Because so much was unbearable inside of our own self. Awakening is diving into the cracks in our hearts rather than mortaring them. It does not look like being perfectly empowered, seamlessly composed. It's to commit with all your heart to no longer take out your helplessness on anyone else. Awakening has nothing to do with stern, stoic spirituality. It has nothing to do with finally being aloof enough to not be impacted by the gifts of your beautiful feelings. Awakening isn't only for special people. We're all on our way toward coming out of the sleep cycle. Awakening is the at times compassless and often inglorious inner odyssey toward the rough ruby of all that is bruised and true in our hearts. It is bushwhacking through a tangled history of acquired conditioning of all that we are not. Awakening is messy. Be not fooled. The myth that awakening looks anything like spiritual perfectionism is perhaps the best sleeping pill.
Beautiful.
Thank you all.
Love it, love it.
I nominate Charlotte.
Okay, I'm going to read Vision Quest. And this was a vision quest I went on in 1994 for 3 days and nights in a forest with only water. I was alone in Los Padres Forest. As my inner story settled with the dawn, this is what happened. In the silence of waking, 2 owls hooted and red-tailed hawks swept past. A mother doe whinnied and showed me her fawn. Gray fox came, a white dot by his nose. Both ears rose and he darted off. Then I heard the shots of restless hunters in the glen. Later, fox returned, and, trembling with excitement, I felt the warmth of fur against my skin. Together, in silence, we watched the setting sun. And now do I nominate?
Such a lovely poem. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes, you go
Charlotte.
for it.
Elaine.
Thank you, Charlotte. I chose Earth Angel. I think because, I mean, I looked at the others, but I think because it's the closest to what I feel I'm about as a human being on this planet. That I'm here for a while, and that you know, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience here, and ultimately to through my own evolution, my own passing through the crucible, and becoming hopefully a vehicle for unconditional love. And so here we go, Earth Angel. The first few lines are by John O'Donoghue, an Irish poet that I love, who he died unexpectedly in his sleep. He was a priest, a Catholic priest. He met somebody, fell in love, and they were married a few years. And one morning his wife came and found him dead in bed. And very loved, very, very funny, very powerful writer, an Irish writer. So anyway, here we go. First few lines are his. Earth Angel. Awaken to the mystery of being here and enter the quiet immensity of your own presence. For you have always been and always will be. When earth dries your bones and you are no longer needed here in bodily form, the free essence of you will continue somersaulting and spinning through the cosmos and all the other realms that were beyond your limited and grounded sight will have access to your sacred presence. They will sing choruses to the joy of having you near. It will not be an ego thing anymore. It's just that you carried earthly clothes for a while until you were free to let them go. Hallelujah. So
Thank
my
you.
go, yeah. Susie. I nominate you, Susie. I can't.
I just wanted to say, also my usual age, because I don't want to mess up. So I wanted to blurt out. Would Elaine read mine? Because I'm going to read it. I love the way you read. It's just like, it's meditation. And I saw and watched the video that Paul helped you with. It's just like, I'm going to post it on my page. Anyway, thank you. And that was a beautiful poem. I'll give a short intro about, I was going to read another one, but I decided I'd read this because I had the most amazing with it. I'm going to read Summer in the City. I might cry because I'm in Boston now for a week and a half with my husband visiting our sons. And every time I get into an Uber, I take the chance to read them a poem. And wonderful. But the last one, I've since decided if I keep this up, I'm going to be giving all my books away. I mean, all of them, and then have to order a bunch, which would not be a problem, right? That's not a problem. Maybe
order them
eventually
anytime.
financially. So I'm going to print out that poem and what's that?
Yeah, you can order
What's that?
any time. Your audio is actually bouncing in and out. So why don't I?
Good.
I'm just going to
That's your-
turn. I'm going to turn your video off so we can just hear you by audio. We'll just close our eyes, and that might make your audio clearer. All right. We look forward to
Okay.
hearing this poem.
Okay. So I'm going to read first, and then I just want to tell you a little story about this last experience I had reading it to an Uber driver here. Summer in the city. The Uber drivers lift me up, giving me a sense of belonging and care. Dutifully, they take me to my heart's desire, some friendly, some silent, looking stoic, some glance in their rearview mirror. Some rock their gospel, pop, hip hop, or jazz, frazzled, dazzled, laughing their socks off, some avoiding my loving stare. Yet, some stop me hard in my tracks, utterly disarming, charming, fascinating, deep beyond words that 10 minutes can bring, a captive audience to our play. Sadly, my ticket only takes me to the opening scene. Mystery awaits in those wings. Transformed into a curious child, fixated on my mysterious new friend, accepting the heart invitation, entering into each other's worlds, knowing some forces are determined to divide us. I see you in me. Will I see you again? My hand grazes the door handle, lingering, anticipating one last abiding gem. So the story, the last guy, I see Paul smiling up there. Are you in Boston, back in Boston, Paul?
I am. I just messaged you in case you want to have coffee.
Oh yeah, it sounds like fun. I love it. Maybe we could take an Uber drive together and read our.
My fire alarm went off while you were reading that poem, so I apologize. At one point, I was startled, but luckily it stopped, thankfully. So back to this.
Oh, no.
Okay, so the last guy, I think he was from Rio de Janeiro. I always, if they seem open to it, I love to chat. I love, my thing in life is meeting new, the unconditional positive regard and just, yeah. So this man, the driver, I said, oh, I have this poem that I wrote for Uber. I'm thinking I want to retitle it. I could do that to ode to the Uber drivers. I don't want to leave out Lyft. Anyway, I told him I had a poem to read that I was just getting published in a book for the first time. And could I read this poem to him? He said, oh, I would love that. And I swear to God, this man had tears coming out of his eyes. And he said, you have just changed my. He said that I until you read that, oh my God, until you read this poem to me, you kept saying, you said, I see you in me. He said, I never thought that a passenger and my Uber driver would see themselves in me.
Wow.
And yeah, and I went, wow, oh my God, of course. Well, that's me. He's like, no, I don't have anyone. Well, they talk, but yeah, don't really answer. And I certainly don't have anyone, telling me that they see themselves in me. He said, I just thought I was some until now. I mean, seriously, it got like this. Until now, I just saw myself as a nobody. That's how I saw myself. And I was almost crying at this point. And I want to go into my therapist mode, which as my husband can attest, I do. I met somebody else in town and trying to hook her up with friends because she just moved here and she's has family of origin issues, et cetera. Anyway, it was just the most beautiful moment. And then when he dropped me off at my B&B in Davis Square to set the scene for some of you that know the area, I said, I would like you to have this book. He went, no, you can't. No, I shouldn't take that from you. I said, oh, please. That would really, really please me if you did. And he kept, and he said, no, I would love it. But I said, no. And he said, would you write it for me? So I wrote him, can't remember exactly what I wrote. Anyway, it was just, we ended up holding hands. And I said, I want you to remember this. And, I said, some people may not say it like I did, but other people out there are going, it's not just me. You know, but not everybody's so out verbal or outspoken. But I try to really be outspoken with my love, because why not? Life is short. And he just said, I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough. I want to read the rest of the poems. I said, oh, the rest of the poems are even better. Trust me. Anyway, there's a few more things, but I get this. I distract myself sometimes, so I I don't want to take up too much time.
Susie, thank you. That was
Yeah, it was
such a cool
amazing.
story. Mm-hmm.
It's such
Did
Who do
you?
you nominate next, Susie?
What's that?
Who do you nominate? Who's going next?
I want to say something. We ended up kissing. It was beautiful. I nominate Tracy.
Yeah.
That was beautiful, Susie. And you know, for me, the participation in the whole process was so rich, even during those weeks when I was really, really busy. It almost even grounded me. And so I have found in my life and in my writing that often other people remember and cling to what they think they know about me, or you know what they know about my accomplishments, and I always often forget about them, which was the foundation of the poem that's in the book, Amicably Divorced. So I'll read it and then I will say a couple of comments further about it. Amicably divorced. It matters little to me what others think about the books I've written, the places I've been, the people I've met. What I want to be known for is kindness, compassion, service, and growth. I stand for love in action, bringing people together, growing a bigger pie and a better world. If along the way I make a name for myself, that's collateral damage. Important to notice, but nothing to be distracted by. The spotlight has always been on showing people what God looks like in human form and helping them see and be their own form of divinity. Stuff I have done is not who I am. I'm neither embarrassed nor impressed by my achievements. I appreciate my past experiences as my path of becoming, nothing more, nothing less. So think of me as amicably divorced from yesterday's joys and pains. I am happily married to now and tomorrow.
Yes. Gorgeous.
And this poem came from actually almost all at one time because someone was introducing me. And I had given them an introduction and it had like, 3 sentences, very short, what I thought was appropriate, but they had known me for 15 plus years. And so they stopped and said, well, what she didn't say is, and they started listing all these things that I was proud of, but they don't really define who I am right here and right now. And that line that about it's just the path of becoming who I am now and the real purpose of life, of living, being the presence of God and helping others see that in themselves, however they define God, that's when it got really clear for me. And so I hope that everyone who reads this doesn't take anything for granted, but also does not continue to hang on to it for long. But David, I will hang on to the fact that this book is #1 in new poetry releases today.
Collateral damage we welcome.
Exactly. Exactly. And I am going to turn the attention to Michael.
Yes.
Thanks, Tracy. As always, a bit of a hard act to follow, but there you go. I'm going to read a poem. It's just I heard a story yesterday. I gave this collection to a friend of mine who got a little bit overexcited and decided that she would read it to her family over dinner and get them to guess who wrote it, because she I was part of this process. So she hadn't really prepared it so much. So she announced that this poem is called Sad Ass Pope. And so I thought, well, okay. I know a few popes in the past of the church's history that have been sad ass, but perhaps not the present one. And just to say that Australians, as David would test, we put out the rubbish, not the trash. So when we get to that, then that's the that's our local translation. So it's called Sad Ass Hope. You don't want sad ass hope. I hope that things will get better while citing the travails of the world. I hope that all will be well while battening the hatches and letting down the steam. I hope that somewhere, sometime, light will shine again while blowing out the candles to save the wax. You don't want sad ass hope putting out the rubbish and turning off the light. Hope has to lean in. Hope has to sight the horizon and walk the charted path. Knowing that when you get there, another horizon will be summoning, and then another. But that's the hope. But despite the shrugged shoulders, the scorning word, the pitying look, the contempt, there is life in the walking, in the carrying souls along by the depth of your resolve and the breadth of your conviction, in the light it lends to the path, in the hope.
You want to tell us a little bit about that piece?
I suppose it kind of had its germination in COVID time and just coming out of COVID time when, not that we're out of it, people were saying a lot about, well, you know, I hope that stuff will be better, and I hope that things will get, I hope that this, I hope that that. And it just started to annoy me that a lot of people were saying, I hope this, without actually doing anything about it. So that that's where that came from.
Thanks, Michael. Who are you going to nominate?
I got a poem.
Is this a brotherhood thing, Michael, or something?
Yeah, I just thought that as I said it.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Back to Tracy's poem. We talked a lot in the meetups that we had in our preparation with Shailan about titles. So when I first saw the title, Amicably Divorced, I don't think I ever heard you read it. I thought, okay, she's going to talk about a divorce situation and stuff. But I thought it was really a clever use, because sometimes we talked about titles as explaining the poem, but this way it was like a trick in a way. I thought it was beautiful. I loved it. So I just wanted to shout out to that, and also to the group's counseling about the importance of titles. So I'm going to read one of the ones that I probably would have more trouble reading. I don't usually read it much, but this is my chance, so I'm going to. It's Best Wishes. I found a get well card among the flyers and false promises, with only your initials as the return address. I will never write back except in this journal, where I can let words flow as they will. When I first woke up, I heard them say, His eyes are fluttering. These strangers caring for a stranger in the deep hospital night. The way they reached out to me, I reached out to you like that in the middle of our last night, trying to save our life. There's care in their distant voices, the nurses and the specialists coming in like some lost radio wave. You're in a hospital. You're going to be okay. Tell us 5 things you can see. Probing eyes above masks, bathed in fluorescence, my fragile body in pajama blue. 4 things you can hear. The monitor, the heartbeat, the clatter of some metal tray, the shuffling footsteps, the hissing air. Yes, I can taste, touch, smell, but I do not answer. My senses drift inwards. I'm falling back into another bed, another room, another time. I feel the sensation of you washing back over me. My mind travels south and starts singing. A country song written on the fly. 5 ways I used to hold you. 4 songs we used to sing. 3 memories to bring me back to what we could have been. The guardian angels start singing a different song in their stylish blue pajamas, interrupting my descent into my country morning. They call me back to this beeping, humming room. Their rhythmic, reassuring tones are just right. I will be okay. Thanks. I just needed a reminder. This is not the first time I learned how to die. After all, I've been shot through the heart before and survived. Yes, well said. Best wishes for my speedy recovery. Thank you for giving me the chance to read that. And I thought this was important to read this time because it came from a writing prompt for this group from David. So it would not have existed without this group. So, and the last thing I want to say about this group is it's a living community. And anyone who buys this book joins that community. And I mean it's living, meaning I've done a song with Laura. I co-wrote one with Beverly. I've put the Venka's beautiful poem of the forest to music. I've done more with Shaylan. I was just on a podcast with Tracy. I'm gonna maybe have coffee with Susie, and I want her cat to be in a movie of mine. I read Volusia's poem, Apostles to the Present, at an open mic. She did not know that. I've almost gotten every single person in here, and I apologize because I've done, this is a living community. Thank you all. And Dangerous Grace with David, participated in his meetups, heard him read Charlotte's poem, and lots going on.
I love it. Thank you, Paul.
My mind is saying nominate Kristen, so I'm nominating Kristen.
Thank you. Happy to be nominated. Although I hate going after people with such big energy because I feel like mine is a little more quiet. So, but I'm going to read a poem, this particular poem, just because I feel like I really found my voice in this group, and I kind of found what inspires me by doing the prompts, by showing up every week and kind of forcing myself to be more expressive. And I found that my inspiration kind of comes from nature and just the quiet moments in nature. So I will read my poem called The Ginkgo Tree. I asked the ginkgo tree for its wisdom, hoping to learn to synthesize the light in my veins into nourishment for those souls, including my own, who longed for God. She answered, "My love, I cannot teach you what you already know. We are both bridges between earth and sky, rooted to this star, reflecting what light we can reach to help those souls, including my own, see their way out of the darkness." I really feel that, and this also came from a prompt from our group as well. Writing poetry has kind of helped me tune in to those small moments that like just are so full of inspiration, and yeah, I'm just really grateful for being a part of the group. So
Thank you,
Mhm.
Kristen.
thank
That
you.
poem got so much amazing attention on Facebook.
I know, isn't that crazy? I started the Facebook
Well
page
deserved.
after this group, and yeah, it was like 2,000 people. I was like, that's incredible. That's amazing. Yeah,
It was amazing. It was so exciting to see. Congratulations.
thank you so much. All from this little group. It's just like amazing. So I say thank you to all of you for helping me, along my path.
Glad you found your voice. The world needs it.
Thank you, David.
Yes, true that.
Thanks. Okay, so I nominate Laura.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And Kristen, I've been so impressed by what's been happening on Facebook with your work. And I'm just really excited for you. And I really hope you better be working on your next book right now, because obviously the world wants it and it's time.
I love the camaraderie on Facebook that we get to see each other. Like,
It's so fun. It's
Progress.
been
It's
really
fun.
fun. And,
Yeah,
I really don't like social media that much, but
No.
it's one of the necessary evils to market. And it has been fun to watch you guys kind of blossom.
You too.
Thank you. This, my poem that I'm going to read, Superhuman, it was voted on by our group because I didn't know which one to read. But I wrote it because this journey, this process of becoming a writer, deciding in my mind and telling people that I am a writer, it's not been seamless. And that's because most of my life never called myself a writer, never knew I wanted to be a writer. This was something that came up after I turned 30. So it has been interesting. And as much as I'm trying to convince the world that I'm a writer, there's days I'm still trying to convince myself. And that's what this poem kind of came from, is that idea that it is okay to not be the person that you thought you were going to be when you were younger. It's okay to turn around and completely switch and be something that is actually what your soul and heart has been screaming for without your knowledge. I'm not always the most observant of obvious things. And, creative writing was the class that I did the very best on in college. It was the only A+ I got. I wasn't a great student, but creative writing was the only one. And still, it took me years to see what I actually should be doing. So here we go. Superhuman. It's magnificent that as humans, we have the unique capacity to completely reinvent ourselves in the middle of our lives. Imagine, for a moment, a hippopotamus in his big mouth glory exclaiming, "Water is no longer my thing. I think I'll grow wings and learn to fly, to live a weightless life." Well, no, I don't believe that could be. But by George, a trash man can earn his pilot's license, and boom, the trucks are history. It's magnificent that there are no rules in stone to claim you must stay exactly who you are right now. Even characters of the Bible changed their name. Julia Childs learned to cook at 40. Harry Potter was born from a midlife crisis. All this to say, your heart might always beat the same. Birthmarks and genetics may hold their place, but you can live a life that's truer. The timid can be the teacher, the judge a humble servant. You can do this because you're human. Thank you, guys. It's just been one of the greatest pleasures of my life being a part of this.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Oh, I have to nominate someone. Okay, let's see. Fenka.
Hi, guys.
I think
So the poem I'm going to read is called Permission, and it's in a similar vein to Laura's a little bit, in that it's kind of about my coming to realize that writing was and is very important to me, and just giving myself permission to take it seriously, like I did for my painting years ago. Kind of the same same process. And this sharing of it, this poetry chapel where I shared my poems for the first time was the sharing of it. So it's both the process of the writing and the sharing and how that came to be. Permission. I gave myself permission one day to write. Instead of doing things or even painting things. And now I need less and less consent to put down words on paper. Was that so hard? Saying yes to black marks on a white sheet, permitting the silent impulses of my mind. They'd have just as soon stayed that way, a wisp of wind in the ancient trees. But somehow they emerged. Someone saw something in someone's head. If you bring forth what is within you, words beget words, it said. And I have a little quote, a little footnote at the bottom of this poem from Jesus, actually, the Gospel of Thomas. And it says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. And I just feel like that quote is kind of the summation of life or death. And I just keep coming back to it in my life. And it kind of helps me to bring forth, it's the only thing that saves me, really. And I just really appreciate this group. I really appreciate having the chance to share my poems and got so much out of it. And I just feel so much love for all of you. So I want to thank you for that.
Venka.
Thank you so much, Venka.
And I will nominate Beverly.
I will start with the disclaimer that it's a difficult topic that I'm dealing with, but it does have a happy ending. So don't get too worried with the hard beginning. And it's called Two Hands. Waiting for the bus to work in the pre-dawn dark. Two hands clutch both my shoulders from behind. Come with me, he commands. Mine is not a sheltered life. Two hands clutching both shoulders from behind is vital information. If both hands hold me, he has no weapon. Fight! My body braces, fight now. I crouch low. Two hands still clutch both shoulders, but not for long. My guttural ferocious no shoots a vocal arrow. I turn, ready to strike. Before me, the man whose two hands have been clutching both my shoulders begs, trembling. Don't hurt me, please. Don't hurt me. Yes, now he is begging, and then skulks away into the dark. The bus arrives, I climb the metal stairs, I go to work. Later, they tell me 6 women were raped at that bus stop. 6 women. They with 2 hands clutching both shoulders. It is then the tears fall for the 6 women, their pain, the continued trauma, but also for him. The way he shook in terror, trembling in the prison of the abuse once done to him. Knowing only to hurt or be hurt. indelibly imprinted in the soul we all share. My tears open a portal where we are unmistakably one. Decades later, I would hold your two hands. If needed, I am still prepared to fight. I will not sacrifice my wholeness, but it is my deeply held wish that somehow you will be held, that somehow you will be healed. So today, with my two hands, I create a wondrous bird of light, filled with my intention that love find you and hold you long enough to set you free. And I watch that shining bird take flight. Hard not to get worked up with that one.
It gave me
So powerful.
Yeah, that's in the podcast with Tracy, we talked about how this has been a story that I've told as a story, but it became a poem during our time together because I realized that I could write longer poems that told stories, which is a lot more. I've been doing a lot more of that since this poem. And I also felt, sadly, it wasn't the only time that I'd been assaulted in that way, but it was incredibly memorable in as much of the turning from the aggression to the complete crumbling and the intense intimacy of watching what we all know, you know, we know it, right? The injured injure, the hurt create hurt. But to see it like right in front of my eyes, unforgettable moment in my life. And, you know, we feel for children who are abused, and we can have sympathy and compassion for them, but sometimes when they become like this, it's hard to have the compassion. So, but the way that this played itself out, it was an unforgettable moment that could only elicit compassion for many other people that I have come across through time. This was young in my life. Dallas Methodist Hospital parking lot. We didn't talk about that. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm so touched to have us all together again. And of course, I would like this to continue. And I nominate Volusia.
Thank you. I changed my choice also to reflect being inspired by this group and the prompts. So I'm reading after Mikado, being open with each other. It was very useful, very beautiful for me to do that. There are ways that we can ask questions of ourselves and each other and set the beehive of our hearts to work in our willingness to know what is just beyond that sense of loss we carried, or to breathe life into parts rejected. We'd be standing true in our small transparency clusters, letting the bees do their work of making white combs and sweet honey from our old failures, distilling pollen from our very lives, seeing through new eyes, gathering honey.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you. We've gathered a lot of honey together, haven't we?
We have.
We have.
I nominate Lisa.
Lisa, yes.
I don't have many choices, but here we go. I actually didn't want to read my poem out loud. I'd written to Chelan and David. I don't love to read my poems out loud, not yet. And you know, I came as I was going to retire. I was realizing the couple years before that I love creative writing and started writing my novel. I'd had this story in my head for many years, and it was coming out during COVID because sometimes I couldn't travel, and so I got the novel out. And then I thought, when I retire, I want to spend literally full-time writing because it's my passion. I discovered it was my passion, and people have always been telling me, you should write more. Or, you know, I'd had a former director friend. That's how I got in an academic book. She said, I'm going to have you write all my letters to the community. So I like writing. So that was kind of one of my fortes as an administrator. But what I wanted to use my time for was just to really thank everyone. I came barreling into this, and the whole mindset of being like vulnerable and delicate and sensitive, and and it's what I wanted to do, you know. And I just think the world needs this so much. Maybe my first love is novel writing, but I'm discovering poetry is a very, very close second, because there's things that you can write in poetry that you can in a novel, and there's a kind of depth and intensity. You can go right into it and really, and also I find that as you're writing, it is therapeutic. It is a form, almost more than healing, it's growth. And one of the things, Chelan, that I most admire about you is your poems about healing and growth. They really speak to me, the part of pain and anger, and like how someone's so young, I mean, could have experienced these things. I know them because of years, like trauma and incidents. Like, I just think I don't know, it just almost feels like you haven't lived enough years to be that wise, but you are, you know, so like, it's a very deep wisdom about overcoming, which I love. And I think most of us in today's world, we need every help we can get. We need each other. We need, you know, I think this is a very inspired group. I'm sure it's not by accident that we're on this kind of spiritual journey together. I feel like what came was not an accident. I mean, like, not just because it's like #1 and everything, something did happen. And I think it's worth continuing. I really do. I think something very special did happen, you know. And I feel that, you know, like I feel, David, like you have this, it's almost fatherly, and it's like, but it's also a form of coaching where you build up people's skills bit by bit, so they can go where they couldn't go before. All of a sudden you're like, oh, I didn't know I could do this, because you coach, and you too, in a different way, Chandler. I think together you're dynamite. And I really would want to go further. Further, I don't know where that would lead us, the stratosphere, whatever. But anyway, so, and then every single person in the group, again, I don't think it's an accident. It's a very extremely special group. Each one's a very unique poet, and like different styles. And I loved each of the styles. And so I thank you for being patient with me. I'm proud to have the least poetic experience of all of you. And, you know, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. So no on a poem though? You're clear on that? I don't ask that from any place of pressure, just.
No pressure, because I don't really like some of the things that are all easy for you guys are that particular thing for me reading to the group. So like I said, I took my time to say the thank yous, okay?
Perfect.
That was thank you.
Do you want me to read one?
Sorry, what?
No, I just wanted to make 100% sure that.
No, I really don't feel like it. It's there. People will read it.
How about if David reads one of your poems?
All right. Does anyone have
All right, whatever.
All right, whatever. All right, I'll whatever read. Tend to the garden of your heart. Is that all right? All right.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. It's not going over a boundary, don't worry.
How do you tend to the garden of your heart? Clear your heart from brambling fear and the hardness of unyielding thoughts, opening the loamy terrain for tender shoots of hope that will, yes, they will arise into promising blossoms and ever mighty trees harboring your life. Gather seeds from the gnarled, wisdom-laden trees, fruitful with the fragrance of love, seeds worthy of endless generation, dedicated to godly veneration. Do you let your garden go, or fancifully imagine it with silver bells and cockle shells and fairy tale wishes that do not grow? Your soul garden is God's trust for a life of abundance. Your soul garden is God's trust for a life of abundance, a bestowal to you and a source of renewal to others. Water it with kindness and weed it from snakes that snare its roots and fruits. Tend all worthy seeds in their yearning to reach toward the sun and flourish in beauty and future strength. Celebrate every tiny curl of feathery growth. All begins and ends so humbly.
You
Beautiful
were
to
hired
read.
to read my poems if ever need be, okay? You're hired.
It reads easy. I've actually not read it out loud. That poem reads easy.
I feel like I should say that sounds like it was written by someone quite poetic.
I would say so too.
I agree.
Thank you.
So David and Shalane, you know, there is one poet in the book who is not with us.
We're all looking
at
at
this
Venka.
moment.
He actually is. It's actually a snow day, and I bribed him with Reese's peanut butter cups and TV to keep him out of the room, and he's done a fabulous job.
Amazing.
Well, I think we should read his poem. I love it.
I would
Up to
love
you guys.
to read it. You
Want me to
it?
read it, or? Oh, okay. Go ahead. He can. I can bring him up. He'd be happy to.
Oh,
Should I?
yes.
Yeah,
He is
that
a
would
poet.
be great.
Yes.
He's part of the
All
collection.
right.
If he wants to, yes. Don't make him.
Oh, while Venka go gets him, David, you want to explain how he's got in the book and what?
Yes. So for those watching, in one of the sessions, Venka's son Leo appeared on the Zoom screen and was like, "Hey, everybody!" And then she explained that he'd been writing poetry and had his own little poetry book, and they've been writing together. And then, with absolute gusto and confidence, he read this poem, which he's going to read for us in a second, called "Catching Lizards." And I was so touched. I thought I just need to put this in the book, as you know, just take my my poetic privilege as the lead editor, and said, let's do this, because I'd love for more kids to, you know, be part of this experience. Leo, look at you.
Yes.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, Leo.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, Leo. Hi.
Lovely to meet you.
Congratulations on being published.
Yes. We love your poem.
We do.
And
We
I
do.
like the way
31.
you read it.
On page 131.
Wait, that's 106.
Yep, you're almost there. Keep going.
Is there?
Oh, couple more pages. One more, I think. Oh, there it is. All right, buddy. Read it to the group.
Little lizard, so still and sweet. You run so fast on little lizard feet. I want to catch you if I can and hold you gently in my hand.
Lovely, lovely, Leo.
Thanks for letting us put that poem in there, Leo.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. We love it.
Have you been writing some more?
What?
Have you wrote some more poems?
We haven't wrote a poem in there.
But have you written any others in your special book?
No, and I was seeing that there was 1 or 2 blank pages for us to write poems.
Oh, that's a good reason.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to hearing and maybe seeing some other poems of yours.
Mhm.
Mm.
Best-selling author, Leo Payne.
Yes.
Leo, thanks for reading us, buddy. Thanks for reading for us.
Leo.
Thank you, Leo.
Welcome.
The two of you are a beautiful portrait in blue. Bye,
What?
Leo. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Come on, buddy.
Yeah.
I'll
Love,
be
love
right
the visual.
Go back to your peanut butter.
Thanks, Tracy. That was a great idea. I assumed you might have been at school, but beautiful. All right, I've asked Shalane if she'll bookend our reading with another one of her poems. I'm sure nobody minds.
Happily. Thank you. You all, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's called Fully Human. Comedians need a space to cry, and spiritual leaders need a space to share their insecurities and how vulnerable they feel. Religious people need a space to share their doubts, and priests need a space to confess their desires. Mothers need a space to wail about how regularly we long to escape motherhood. Am I right? And parents need permission. And parents need permission to curl their hurts into fetal position and cradle their hearts. It must be okay for saints to also have scuff marks, and for the monk to long to come down from the mountaintop. Doctors need a space to talk about their addictions. Mystics must be allowed to also trudge through the mundane. And we need to be able to tell God we hate him now and then to stay in honest and whole relationship. Dear one, to be fully human, we must be allowed to share our full experience of strength and struggle in a way that doesn't threaten our belonging. We must grow into hearts that can hold all parts of each other. For our light to go on sustaining itself, it must be allowed its shadow.
Beautiful.
A brilliant poem. Well, they all are.
Thank you so much, you all.
Mm. I'm not sure how to finish up, but to say I'm glad that a number of you here are continuing to gather on Fridays. I think it is your time in the US. So I'm glad, and I look forward to. I love seeing what's you keep putting on Facebook and everything that's emerging. And this has been, you know, I ran the last 2 poetry chapels as the lead poet, so it's been really wonderful and a great genesis for me to work with Shalane as the first host poet, and she was nervous when we started, but a few weeks in, she's like, I was like, they're all adults. It's okay. They want to share. It's just, it's cool, and you just feel into it, and you did such an exceptional job, even overcoming some strange technical issues as well from time to time. Shalane was good. So I actually have been talking with Ciara Freeman, who's just been published with Button Poetry, and she's probably going to run one of them next year. You can find Ciara Freeman, look her up. She's a wild character, and a very accomplished poet, and teaches and speaks everywhere, particularly in spoken word form. So that'll be a really cool crowd, and I'm going to run one as well next year, starting February, and then possibly in the second half of the year. So if you do know people that want to have the Poetry Chapel experience, because it's an experience, right? Like you discover after a while that it's not just about the poetry, it's the friendship, it's finding your voice, it's how God weaves in these Uber rides with people, and you know, all these things, you're surprised about what comes out. So I'm going to be running some in 2023 as well. So if you have any friends or people watching it want to be part of this as well, and be published and learn how to do it yourself, you can do that. So are there any closing thoughts or comments? The mic's open, but it's been lovely working with you all, and I'm glad we can continue to stay in touch.
How do you spell that poet's name, David? Ciara?
Ciara, Siaara.
And what's the surname?
Freeman?
Freeman.
Yeah, Freeman. Yeah, she's just written a book. So I think she's going to start in August. She's published a few, but this has been published through Button Poetry, and it's called Urbanshi or Urbanshi. She loves fantasy and sci-fi, and she writes and speaks in academic circles as well, as far as poetry goes. So
She has big shoes to fill, though. Pretty big shoes.
Yeah, she will have her own shoes.
Yeah, she is talented, and she is just very different from Shalane. So it'll be a very different experience, and it'll be perfect. Oh my gosh.
I'm going to show you her profile picture so you can all see. So that's
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's a bad
Wow.
Mama Jama is her Instagram feed. So she loves this is her this is the picture that they used for her cover. So yeah,
Oh, that's
it's an
fantastic.
amazing, and she's a spoken word poetry winner. Yeah, so you're going to like her. People who, so this is her new book, which comes out, which has just come out through Button Poetry. Let's see if the picture comes up. So no, it's not coming up for some reason. Anyway, there it is. That's her new book there. So different genre, different style. Will be cool to see what evolves. Different shoes. No one could fill your shoes, Shalane.
Exactly.
You're one of a kind.
Absolutely. We needed you with your shoes.
Well, and that was one of the things that I think maybe in my conversation, in a follow-up or recent conversation with Paul, that there's no coincidence, like the right people organically brought together for this group and and all the other groups. So I just like, we're heart connected, right? We're all connected, even if we're not talking to each other each Friday. At least that's how I feel. So never be surprised, to get a random email from me or a link to something that's happening. And I really look forward to the same from everyone who is on this screen right now.
Well, the poem that I posted recently about soulmates, that was actually about you guys. So hope you're not weirded out. I consider you guys my soulmates.
I missed that. When did you post that, Laura?
Probably a week or so ago.
Oh, I must have a look. Thank you.
Should we all do a checkout word?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good idea.
You gonna start, David?
I'm going to use one I often use, and it's grateful. Just
Yeah. What he said.
I'm going to ditto that. Grateful.
Nourished.
Fulfilled.
Changed.
I'm going to say in love because I'm in love with all of you guys and I'm not afraid to admit it.
That's so
I'm going to say new confidence, because I think we all gave each other new confidence. I'm grateful for that.
That's a good one. I feel touched by that and everything that you've all said tonight. Thank you.
I can only think of one. I have a newfound confidence in myself that was humming underneath, and now you guys have brought it out. So Shalane, David, all of you, heartfelt love and thanks.
I think my word is inspired today. Inspired.
I'm going to go with 2 words, sorry, because inspired was one, but also humbled, both sides of that. So thank you for the opportunity. It's been fantastic.
What was your second word, Michael?
Humbled.
We're all humbled by you too.
Just amazed and so grateful.
Been a miracle. Crazy. It's still not real to me. Pinch myself.
Who hasn't shared? Lisa, did you give us your word? And who else is there?
It's in the chat.
Oh, it's in your chat. Uplifted. Thank you. Who else hasn't gone?
Me. My word is dedicated. I feel dedicated to my love tribe here and to myself.
Just wishing the best of the best of the best to everyone, your creative adventures, the journeys, and just your hearts and your lives. Not that this is an ultimate goodbye or anything like that, but just truly, this is only the beginning. No, I just really wish the best for everyone.
Shalane and David, if you ever want to join us on Friday, you guys are welcome.
I know.
Come
No,
on.
I would if the time wasn't as brutal for me.
Yeah,
That's pretty brutal for you, David. And Michael.
Yeah.
Find yourself up in the middle of the night, just can't sleep. If it's Friday, we're probably there.
Yeah, right?
We all get a
Guys.
screenshot.
Yeah, we should.
Hold
If you
up our
have the
books.
book, hold it up. We'll take a.
Leo took it from me, so I don't think I can do it.
All right.
That's okay.
Where's yours, Paul? Here we go. All right. Did you take a screenshot, Shalane?
Oh, am I supposed to take it?
I'll do it. Well, it'll be recording. 2, 3. All right. I think I got something. I can get it.
Taking a screenshot while holding a book, that's like complicated.
Well done, everybody.
Well, great job,
All
everybody.
right, everyone, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us and celebrating with us. If you want to get the book, if you haven't yet, go to bouquetofstars.com. You can find all the links to get it there. This recording I'll put on that site as well. And if you want to be part of a poetry chapel or learn more, you can go to poetrychapel.com. Everyone, thank you for tuning in from all over the world. At all different times and days. It's been wonderful having you here. This is a late edition, but I also wanted to say a big thank you to Rachel, our week-to-week editor, who helped with so many of our edits. So Rachel Huckle, thank you for being part of it and being part of the Poetry Chapel team and encouraging all these poets from week to week.
Thanks,
We
Rachel.
do love and appreciate you.
And shout out to the cover designer, Jordan.
Yes.
And Elaine Boyce, your wife.
All their details are on the front cover. I always try and give credit to all the people that have been part of the creation of each Poetry Chapel collection. So thank you. So thank you for joining us for this launch party for the Bouquet of Stars book. As you've seen, it's been a wonderful experience from everyone. Again, if you want a copy, go to bouquetofstars.com. or you'll find it at all good online retailers across the world. Congratulations again to all those that participated and were part of the Poetry Chapel experience. This is volume 3 of Poetry Chapel experience, and we have volume 2 is also available worldwide. Winters Never Last, and volume 1, The Saving I Need, is also available worldwide. So thank you to everybody that's been part of this. Thank you for taking the time to watch or listen to this broadcast as well, and celebrating with us as well. I'm David Tenson from Poetry Chapel. Hope you have a beautiful day.